Positivity, and why it's so important to develop a positive mindset and build the skills for you to be able to get into that normal state where you're constantly positive. So in this video, I wanted to have a discussion around positivity and some simple tricks or tips that I would use. So 3 examples that I would use to help me throughout the day, throughout the week, to just maintain an overall positive mindset and a high level of positivity, because it's not exact science to know that positivity and having that influences a lot of your behaviors, influences a lot of your actions, your thoughts, and as well as general well-being. So I do believe, and I'm a strong believer, that positivity being a key to happiness is a key to a lot of other things within your life. You have better relationships if you are a more positive person, because people want to be around you a bit more in general if you are not negative all the time, unless they're a negative person themselves. And also the specific mindset to become positive as well over time. It's not an overnight thing, because I think a lot of the times when we are growing up or brought up, I think there's a lot of societal norms that are more geared towards being negative, or there's a negative influence or undertones around that. So I just wanted to do this video to just tackle some of those questions, and also how I share positivity and why I want to share more positivity and bring awareness to this to more people, because of how it's helped my life and my mental health and my mental fitness as well. So 3 ways to live a more positive life. So number 1 is to avoid consuming content that is negative, right? And what I mean by that is stop watching the news as one example. But seriously, I think there's so much negativity around us in the media, in the news, and other content. And when I talk about content, I mean things that you do listen to, or you do hear that might be online. And I think social media is a big culprit about this, is that because we are constantly bombarded by a lot of information, and in fact we are overwhelmed with a lot of information. And studies have shown that negative feelings or emotions are the strongest motivator for people to relate to and take action against. So that's one reason why there's a lot of news out there that are geared towards negative energies and negative reactions, because that is what strongly motivates us to take action. And us as human beings, we are wired to look for problems more easily than finding the good in things. So I think, and it's I think it's part of evolution, how our brains evolved. We are constantly seeking out for dangers back in those days. And when I mean those days, I mean when we needed to fight for survival, and that doesn't really translate in the modern world, where there isn't really much dangers out there, particularly if you live in a country that's a developed country like in the UK. We can't honestly say that we are going out on the streets and our life is being threatened on a normal day-to-day basis, because that's not how the society is set up now. But our brain is still wired to pick up those negativities and act upon it. So I would say to combat this is whatever content that you consume, you should be consuming with an intent, and that is finding things that are more positive to read about. So reading books is a good way to foster a mindset that is positive mindset, and reading books specifically about self-development or self-improvement, mindfulness, business books usually have lots of good motivational stories in there as well. Usually helps. But overall, is I think the general thing is consuming more positive content. So even on social media, you can find places, or you find different channels or different profiles where it shares motivational stuff and positivity, and constantly feed that into your brain on a daily basis. And this is one reason why I do share a lot of the positive motivational stuff on my stories, on my news feed, because in general, I want people to have better feelings about themselves and be happier and be more positive. And these motivational quotes that I do share, or videos that I do share, is designed to inspire you and make you really think about your life and how you can adopt a more positive and better mindset, in my opinion, than just being negative all day long. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is avoid negative people. Simple as that. Avoiding negative people is one of the best ways to have a better mindset. And the counter to that is to find people that are more positive and share your time with them and be around them more. And again, it goes along hand in hand with consuming more positive content. Is if you're around people that are more positive in general, then that would feed off you, right? You're gonna become the average of the 5 people that you spend most time with. So if you spend time with 5 people that are all negative, they talk about things wrong with society, or victim mentality, or things going bad, the economy's gone to pot, and a lot of the things, and they're constantly that's what they want, and the saying is misery loves company. So if you're one person that loves misery and you don't want to change, then that's the perfect way, that's the best way for you to stay in that spot forever and become a negative person, because you're in the right group, essentially. But if that's not what you are and you want to change, always remember, if you want to change, people aren't going to support you in general if you're in a group that are negative to start out with, because you're the one trying to change and make better for yourself. And to drop another quote is, a bucket of crabs would always pull down other crabs that try to escape. So essentially, you're the crab that's trying to get better and go to a higher level, but then you've got these other crabs down here in the bucket at the bottom trying to pull you back down and give you doubts, tell you, oh, it's too risky, or you shouldn't do that, or you're changing, or I don't feel like you're the same person ever again. Well, in actual fact, people grow and people change anyway. So my philosophy is, people that don't support you in terms of you trying to be better for yourself and genuinely be there for you, I think maybe it's time to find new friends, or move on, or have less contact with them, so that you can discover what more is in you and how you can grow and become a better person. So avoiding negative people is very important, because generally you become one of them, essentially. And if you really got intentions to become a more positive person, want to live a happier life, more fulfilled life, and spread love and happiness around, then surrounding yourself with the right people is so important. And I think one of the most important things is to have the right friendship circle, or joining a community where there's like-minded people heading in the same direction. So that's point number 2. And finally, point number 3 is gaining greater self-awareness. And this is learning to become more self-aware, become more introspective about your own thoughts and your own feelings. Don't just brush it away when you have thoughts that you don't like. You might be tempted to, and I think there are people that have a knack for running away from their problems by doing things that are distractions, like playing video games, watching Netflix all day long, watching the latest whatever dramas on TV, or gossiping with the crowd of people that they like to gossip and moan about, and not really spending the time that actually they deserve to feel in the moment, meditate on it, be more introspective, and doing the necessary research and the learnings to become more self-aware and to understand yourself in a more personal level, in a deeper level, and in a way that, you know, it helps you and it helps everyone else. So I think that is also important, creating more self-awareness and finding information and knowledge around it, or speaking to people that might be on a higher self-awareness level than you, and not so much seeking advice, but understanding, you know, their point of view and understanding where they're coming from and how that might make a difference in your life as well. So, and I really believe that self-awareness, for me anyway, is and it might not work for everyone, but in general, I do believe that if you do have a higher level of self-awareness, eventually you would understand the parts of you that, you know, are making you unhappy, or where, you know, you need to make a change. Because there are times where you feel stressed, and, you know, if you don't know why you're feeling stressed, I think having a higher level of self-awareness can help you pinpoint, or at least eliminate certain things within yourself to identify what it is that is actually causing that stress and what the origins of it. And it might not even be the point of the stress in itself. There could be underlying issues psychologically, mentally, you know, past traumas. I talked a bit about past traumas in other videos. That might be an influence that you actually need to work out and sort out first before you can grow out of that shell and step out to the next level. Right. But overall, self-awareness in general gives you a positive mindset, because you know at the end of the day, there's no control over you, right? You're not having this victim mentality where you think the world's against you and things just happen to you. And in reality, things don't happen to you. Things happen as a direct response to your actions. It's a consequence of your actions, and that's what I've learned, is that, you know, if you do something, there's always going to be a consequence. Even doing nothing is a consequence, and sometimes that is the worst consequence that you can have. So taking back into the example of doing business, right? If you've always had a business idea, but you're scared to get out of your comfort zone and not do it, then not doing it 10, 20, 30 years down the line, you know, the consequence might be you regretting that decision of not doing that business. Or, you know, another example is not starting a family earlier when you wanted to. Consequence of that is, you know, being in old age and not being able to have a family anymore because of biology, essentially. But that is the direct consequence of your choices, and you need to understand, and everyone can understand, that it's not something that happened to you. You decided to not, you know, do the business or have a family earlier because you wanted to retain your freedom. That is also a choice. And the thing is, the freedom of thought, you've got freedom of choice, and there's no one that can take that away from you. And I think being aware of that, being responsible with that, and having the courage to be responsible and take responsibility for that and own that is really important. And to do that, you need a higher level of self-awareness in order for you to really go down the deeper levels and, you know, start making a change in life. But overall, if you're able to do this, the world is, it opens up to you, and the positivity that comes from it, because you will find happiness and inner peace is not like any other. Because the richest man in the world could be the unhappiest man in the world, whereas the poorest man in the world could be the happiest person in the world, just because of a change in perspective and a self-awareness. So yeah, I mean, these are my 3 tips that I wanted to give you guys in this video about positivity, and 3 ways of changing your mindsets and building on a more positive mindset so that you can live a positive life. And yeah, what do you guys think? Give me some feedback. You know, do you agree with this? Do you have more tips that you would share that's worked for you? Because I appreciate not everyone's the same. So it is down to you to let me know and give me a bit of feedback on what you think on this subject as well. So yeah, as always, love you guys. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will speak with you again soon.